Well, hello everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Okay, we're going to check out one of my favorite subjects, parallel universes and alternate dimensions and all of that fun stuff. This is from the channel Voyager. Terrifying signals from parallel dimensions that scientists can't explain. So let's check this out. I love this kind of stuff. And it's funny because when I was back in school, I never got into this kind of thing.
There are people among the scientific community who go far beyond the search for alien life by theorizing the existence of parallel worlds or the possibility of an endless number of such universes.
I believe it.
Scientists claim they have found proof of not only a neighboring parallel universe, but also a realm in which time moves backward thanks to the recent purported discovery of a parallel universe. Is it possible that there is a different version of you, one that exists in the past or the future? And what evidence have scientists recently come across to actually prove this theory? Join us as we investigate the frightening signals from parallel realms that scientists are unable to account for.
So a universe that moves backwards. Real life Benjamin
Theorists
Button.
of parallel universes contend that our universe might simply be a branch of a tree of universes that all exist simultaneously, but in various periods of time with various pasts and futures. There have been enough science fiction stories and films throughout the years that skew readers' and viewers' perceptions of reality. But is the concept of a parallel universe merely fiction? Hugh Everett III, a student at Princeton University, proposed the audacious theory that parallel worlds exist and that they are identical to and connected to our own, and that they branch off from it, just as our universe does from other parallel universes, in 1954. In some alternate realities, species like dinosaurs may have existed, world wars may have ended differently, and even humans may have gone extinct in some of these alternate realities. You might be wondering why a young scientist would suggest such a radical theory, but Everett's many worlds theory was actually his attempt to address some of the outstanding questions in the burgeoning science of quantum physics. Since quantum matter, which exists on the subatomic level, appears to behave erratically at times, scientists believe there may be additional scientific laws at play that we are currently unaware of. Quantum physics is the study of the quantum level, which is the smallest level that scientists have so far detected. Scientists who observed photons noticed that sometimes they behaved like particles and at other times they behaved like waves. This phenomenon is known as the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. For instance, scientists studying quantum matter quickly realized that quantum particles, such as photons, seem to take different forms arbitrarily. Niels Bohr, a fellow physicist, concurred with Werner Heisenberg's theory that quantum particles exist in all possible states simultaneously, and that when we observe them, we affect their behavior by forcing them to choose one state at that precise moment in time. In contrast to Bohr's interpretation of quantum matter, Everett's many worlds theory postulates that when quantum matter is observed, the universe actually splits into multiple parallel universes for each possible quantum state, rather than just choosing one over the other. Some scientists are troubled by the implications of Everett's many worlds theory. For example, if you've ever been in a situation where death was a possible outcome, then according to Everett's theory, there exists a parallel universe out there in which you died. For a long time, scientists dismissed Everett's hypothesis as impossible. However, recently, some researchers have undertaken thought experiments that seem to prove that Everett's theory is real. It's interesting to note that Everett's theory is not the only alternative explanation for quantum mechanics. The string theory postulates the existence of particles much smaller than quantum matter, as well as the possibility of parallel universes. There are an infinite number of possible outcomes that could have resulted from the initial conditions of our universe. All 1090 particles contained within our universe have unfolded with the interactions they have experienced and the outcomes they have arrived at over the past 13.8 billion years, leading to all the complexities of our experiences and our very existence. If there are alternative universes where particular events had different endings, where just one crucial decision went the other way, then perhaps there could be some way to access them and live out our wildest fantasies. These ideas have a foothold in theoretical physics as well, from the myriad of possible outcomes of quantum mechanics and ideas of the multiverse. However, do they have anything to do with observable, measurable reality? There has been a recent report that we have discovered proof of parallel universes. Parallel universes originated in the context of quantum physics, which is notorious for having unpredictable results, even if you know everything there is to know about how you set up your system. It takes an infinite number of parallel universes to account for all the possibilities. But this interpretation is just as valid as any other. No experiments or observations rule it out. One remarkable idea is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, which postulates that all possible outcomes actually do happen, but only one outcome can happen in each universe. The concept of the multiverse is another theoretical foundation for the existence of parallel universes. The Big Bang, which gave rise to the observable universe 13.8 billion years ago, wasn't the first event in the universe. Instead, a very different phase of the universe called cosmological inflation preceded the Big Bang and set the stage for it. Once inflation starts, it's virtually impossible to stop inflation from occurring in perpetuity, at least somewhere, and the places where inflation doesn't end continue to inflate, giving rise to more space and more potential Big Bangs. As time passes, more Big Bangs take place, all disconnected from one another, giving rise to an uncountably large number of independent universes, a multiverse. There simply aren't enough universes created by inflation to hold every possible quantum outcome because of the interactions of particles with spacetime. Even though many independent universes are predicted to be created in an expanding spacetime, inflation never ends everywhere at once, but rather only in distinct, independent areas separated by space that continues to inflate. We have our own laws of physics, but they come along with a whole host of quantities that are always conserved. The big problem for both of these theories is that there is no way to test or constrain the prediction of these parallel universes. After all, if we're stuck in our own universe, how can we ever hope to access another one? Particles can't just pop into existence or vanish into thin air. Rather, they must engage in some sort of interaction with some other quanta of matter or energy, and the results of those exchanges are also subject to the same physical rules. We have never yet come across an interaction that necessitates the existence of something outside of our own isolated universe in order to be understood in all the experiments we have ever carried out, observations we have ever made, and measurements we have ever done. Whether there are additional particles and/or interactions that are discoverable with colliders we can build on Earth is a debatable subject, but there are still many puzzles that remain unanswered, such as the observed absence of strong CP violation, with the Standard Model in its current form. Meanwhile, researchers in Antarctica have discovered what they take to be proof of a universe with different physical rules than our own while conducting cosmic ray detection studies. This would prove that our current understanding of the universe is incomplete, and that there is far more to uncover and learn about in the cosmos than we ever imagined. Perhaps, if this claim were true, some of our wildest science fiction dreams would be possible, as not only would these other universes be out there, but matter and energy from them would have the capability to cross over to and interact with matter and energy in our own universe. What if there was a different outcome to that life or death event you or a loved one faced in the past? What if you had chosen the job overseas instead of the one that kept you in your country? What if you had stood up to the bully instead of letting yourself be taken advantage of? What if you had kissed the one who got away at the end of the night instead of letting them go? So what observation or measurement led us to this astonishing and unexpected conclusion? And what was the remarkable evidence that proves the presence of a parallel universe? An experiment carried on a balloon and sensitive to radio waves called ANITA, Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, found radio waves with a certain set of energy and directions emanating from beneath the Antarctic ice. This is great because it accomplished the goal of the experiment: to detect a heavier particle, a tau neutrino, coming up out of the Earth would imply that these particles are actually traveling backward in time, which is contrary to how these particles are supposed to behave because they are supposedly only able to be detected when they come down from space. The Big Bang, which generated both our world and this parallel universe, is thought by scientists to be the cause of such a universe. This unusual discovery was made in 2016. Since then, numerous physics-based explanations for the mysterious signal have been proposed and dismissed. The ramifications of what's left are alarming. This signal can only be explained by the presence of a mirror world, one that was born from the same Great Bang as our own, but operates independently of it.
Right.
In this mirrored universe, the right is left and time moves backward. In both theory and practice, the ethereal neutrino is just one of many types of cosmic particles zipping through the cosmos. While most of the neutrinos we experience originate from the sun, stars, or the Big Bang, some originate from extremely powerful astrophysical sources like pulsars, black holes, and even black holes themselves. It takes about a light year's worth of lead to have a 50-50 chance of stopping one, so neutrinos can realistically come from any direction, and they also come in a range of energies.
Booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
With the most energetic ones being the rarest.
So if there's a mirrored universe that's like ours, like I'm sitting here right now in my car making this video, what would I be doing in that universe? This is all really weird to me. I mean, it's really hard for me to wrap my mind around it all, but I find it really interesting. Like when he was talking about different things in your life, if you had done them differently, where would you be right now? It's almost like in the other universe, you probably did choose the other thing, and that could have been catastrophe, or it could have been made your life better too. It's pretty interesting. Let's get back to it.
And to many physicists, the most interesting. Some of these neutrinos will pass through the Earth almost completely, only interacting with the final layers of Earth's crust, or ice, where they can produce a signal that our detectors are sensitive to. However, the vast majority of high-energy neutrinos that we observe are not produced from far away, but rather are produced when other cosmic particles, also of extremely high energies, strike the upper atmosphere, producing cascades of particles that also result in neutrinos. Although neutrinos of the energies observed by Anita are so high that they should not be able to pass through the Earth unimpeded, the events that occurred so infrequently are consistent with such a scenario. 3 such occurrences were witnessed by scientists. None of them needed to travel through the Earth. The first 2 may have been ordinary tau neutrinos from an air shower, one of the 3 types of neutrino allowed, and the third was likely just noise in the experiment.
The asteroid 2023 BU is as close an asteroid pass to the Earth as I can ever reach.
In fact, there is extraordinary evidence against them passing through the Earth. The existence of the ice cube neutrino detector, which would have unmistakably seen a signal if high-energy tau neutrinos are routinely passing through the Earth and the Antarctic ice. From a scientific perspective, this means that Anita observed radio signals that it was unable to understand. Where do the parallel universes fit into all of this then? There were only 3 possible explanations for what Anita observed. Either these particles had an astrophysical source, their detector, or their interpretation of the detector data contained a flaw or something extremely exotic, remarkable, and outside the realm of the standard model, known as a CPT violation, was taking place. The third option is that if our universe cannot violate CPT, maybe this comes from a parallel universe where CPT is reversed, an explanation that is as implausible as it is illogical. Some very good science ruled out the first option. Thus, it is almost surely the second option. A number of extraordinary claims have been made over the past decade that have crumbled upon further inquiry. Therefore, it is important to remember that in science, we must always rule out all the conventional explanations that don't involve new physics before resorting to a game-breaking explanation. The hypothetical reactionless engine was a bust. Neutrinos don't move faster than light. We haven't identified dark matter or sterile neutrinos, and cold fusion doesn't exist. There is an amazing story here that is all about good science. An experiment, Anita, saw something unexpected and published their results. A much better experiment, IceCube, followed it up and disproved their leading hypothesis. And it strongly suggested something is wrong with the first experiment, and more science will help us figure out what is really going on. Quantum physicists may be closer than we think. To make that one breakthrough, they need to prove that these alternate realities do exist. But the closer we get to finding conclusive evidence to prove that parallel dimensions, parallel universes, parallel worlds, and parallel time bands do exist, the more we should open our minds up to the possibility that people from our planet may have disappeared into one of those alternate realities. Skeptics have created the science to show that the existence of sentient life in the remote reaches of our cosmos is exceedingly implausible. In other words, we really may be alone in that one regard. Television is constantly bombarding us with stories about alien abductions and UFO experiences.
I believe that, too.
While it's possible that we're the only sentient beings in our universe, that doesn't rule out the possibility that there are others just like us in other universes, dimensions, time periods, or planets. Despite the fact that mainstream scientists reject this theory, quantum physics seems to suggest that two objects may be able to occupy the same space simultaneously. If this is true, alternate realities may exist in the form of parallel dimensions, parallel universes, parallel worlds, and parallel time bands. Although interstellar travel may not be possible in our lifetimes, it is possible that some of us have accidentally entered or exited other dimensions or universes, or even come into contact with individuals from those other realities without realizing it. Quantum physics may provide us with an infinite number of possibilities for how such parallel worlds interact. Who knows? Perhaps there are parallel universes out there. What do you think about the concept of a parallel universe where time is reversed? Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you're still here, make sure to click the video on your screen
to have a parallel universe that's completely reversed. That blows my mind. Well, I thought that was really cool, really interesting. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Now it's time for a joke. I was terrible in school. I failed math so many times I can't even count.